for public safety reasons. Would you agree with that?
I think that's an easy sort of way of putting it, saying that construction sites should stop. I mean, what's clear is on a construction site, it is almost impossible to have social distancing amongst workers. There are always pinch points, points of entry where you will not maintain the distance between people that the government require. But you're putting construction workers in a position where they're choosing between health, hardship and hunger. That is not a position that is acceptable. What we need is the government to extend their wage assistance package from beyond the PAYE employees to the CIS workers, the construction industry scheme, which is predominantly how people are engaged on construction sites. It's then that people can take a real decision to close sites. I had this morning a conversation with a project director from a major project in London, and he was at a loss of what to do. He quite openly pointed out that it is very difficult, if not impossible, to maintain social distancing, but said, if I close the site, these people will have no income. I mean, that's not a choice the government can put on the construction industry.
I think many people will understand that very, very difficult choice. And yet, I'm sure you, like others, will have heard doctors. There was one very articulate A&E doctor, I think, on the radio this morning saying, please stay at home, because the peak is coming in 2 weeks' time. Doctors are literally choosing now. Already, they're going to have to choose who's going to live and who's going to die. And those people working on sites could be the next victims.
I think that's absolutely right. And I think you've made a good point there about people choosing. There's also another choice that construction workers are making, and that is the choice of whether I put food on the table for my family or we go hungry. These are weekly paid operatives that we're talking about, who pay their tax on a weekly basis. They are not businesses, they are individuals who, instead of paying their tax PAYE, pay it under the government's construction industry scheme.
OK. Can I just ask you, I mean, I know we're hoping to hear from Rishi Sunak later, and the government, you know, the indications are the government are working on something for the self-employed, but I appreciate time is absolutely of the essence and people need the money now. The government has pointed out, though, that, for example, people can claim for universal credit if they're really in dire straits.
I think universal credits is not sufficient to keep people. What we'd point out is these workers that we're talking about are the same as PAYE workers, but are paying their tax under a different scheme, a scheme approved by the government. The government needs to step forward and support those people. I think we also accept that we cannot have social distancing on construction sites. It doesn't work. It does put the community at risk. And yes, sites will need to or should be closing, but they have to be closed with the appropriate support for those workers. We cannot condemn workers and their families on construction sites to hardship and hunger. They deserve the protection that other workers in our society have been afforded.
Well, again, I'm sure many people will be sympathetic to that argument, because people will understand that it's very, very difficult without a certain level of income that you're geared up for. Again, just to give you an example, though, from government, just in case it's useful, that if you claim a certain amount of universal credit plus child benefit plus council tax support, that can add up to quite a bit, and it might be just enough to get people through until perhaps the government can come up with a better package for the self-employed. Because if private construction sites and public sites continue like this, we know what the outcome's going to be in terms of health, don't we?
We do, and that's why we need to put immediately into place the measures that will allow construction sites to close. It's not a difficult thing. These people are taxed, as I said, on a weekly basis. Their tax returns are submitted by the engager of the labour. The government could make an announcement this afternoon that they were extending it to cover CIS workers, and we could have construction sites closed, which they should be, by the end of today. The government need to confirm.
Just finally, when we see those pictures on the tube, and we're hearing from tube workers that they think there are too many construction workers on the trains coming to London, they are endangering health workers who are also using public transport. What do you say? What do you say to the nurse or the doctor who says, look, you're putting my life at risk here?
I'm not sure that the question is posed in the right direction. I'd suggest that question goes to the government. Why are you not supporting these people to stay at home? People take drastic measures when they're not going to have enough money to feed their families. Construction workers do not want to go to work. The feedback I'm getting is extend the scheme to us and close the sites. That's what we're demanding. The government can do that. You know, it's fine for other people to talk like that, but it is the government that we need to direct this to. Take an immediate decision and get the sites closed, get people at home so that they can be safe with their family and with just enough income to survive this horrendous time.
Yes, Jerry Swain, it's a very clear message. I'm sure it's one that many people will understand and sympathise with. National Officer for Unite, thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Thank you.
Let's go back now to the news that the World Health Organization has warned that the spread